You're looking inside a corporate-owned private prison. It's Friday at 8 p.m. Black men are being beaten by Hispanic men. The guards, unarmed, have run away. The prison cut costs a few weeks before, and the staff with the keys to the armory were let go, except for one, and he's gone home for the weekend. 2 people are about to die. Many more seriously hurt. Stockholders, investment firms, and politicians on the take are not hurting, however. Profits are way up, in what many are coming to believe is a very bad business indeed.
The new slavery, it's commerce in souls. The incentives are all perverse, and it operates on the backs of human beings. The longer they're locked up, the tougher we get, the more profits, and the better off these companies are.
Who's pushing private prisons? There is an intense lobby at the national level and at the state level of these corporations that make a profit off of bodies in cells, lobbying legislators for more bodies in cells.
They call it the prison industrial complex, and that's really what it is. It's a description of what Eisenhower was talking about 50 years ago, when he was talking about the military industrial complex.
The industry leaders are Tennessee-based CCA, Corrections Corporation of America, and the Boca Raton-based GEO Group, formerly Wackenhut. They routinely pay off legislators state by state, and they provide kickbacks for contracts. A recent report from the Institute on Money in State Politics reveals that during the 2002 and 2004 election cycles, private prison companies, directors, executives, and lobbyists gave $3.3 million to candidates and state political parties across 44 states. Colorado legislator Buffy McFadden wants to stop these practices.
I can speak to a definite instance that's happened in Colorado in the past year. The number 2 man at the Colorado Department of Corrections was on sick and annual leave while consulting for a private prison corporation that bid and was awarded a private prison contract. The state employee, Nolan Renfro, was working on the state's time consulting for the private prison corporation.
The private prison industry got its start in the 1980s, when the get tough on crime public sentiment combined with the Reagan-era philosophy of pushing off government services onto the private sector. Judy Green is a prison policy analyst.
The very first contract for the first private prison in America went to CCA from the INS. And then Wackenhut came into the picture in '84, and they got their start detaining immigrants at Aurora, Colorado.
The business was born through influence peddling.
The business people who founded CCA were very closely tied to government in Tennessee and Texas and throughout the South. The founder of Wackenhut, Mr. Beasley, had been the campaign manager for Lamar Alexander when he became governor in the state. Lamar's wife, Honey Alexander, was a stockholder in CCA right from the beginning. It was partly about political contributions, but mostly it's about hiring the best lobbyists money can buy and having those contacts to begin with, being entrenched in the political system.
Corporate executives partner with lawmakers to write profit into the United States Criminal Code, to put more bodies in more beds.
ALEC stands for the American Legislative Exchange Council. This is an organization that was founded in the mid-'70s by the same people who set up the Heritage Foundation. ALEC takes great pride in being the generator of all of that legislation that swept the states in 1993, 94, 95.
3 strikes and you're out. Tough on crime, truth in sentencing, what they call, unquote, model legislation, have boosted our prison population here in the United States to something like 2.3 million at this point. Far in excess of any country in the world. Our incarceration rate is totally off the charts.
Mandatory sentencing resulted in an explosion in our prison population, and many more African Americans are jailed than whites, due in large part to the disparity in sentencing for crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. When the Democrats took control this year, this issue was put on the table, and it is getting bipartisan attention. Republican Bob Ingalls is a sentencing reform leader.
Really, we need a logical system of sentencing. It needs to be serious and send a signal to the criminal element in the country that, listen, you do these things, you can do some time. And we're serious about that. But it also needs to be fair, because if you end up with a system that isn't fair, then you undermine the whole system.
Private prison corporations approach poor, primarily rural communities, offering employment opportunities and big money handouts for long-term contracts. However, protests on behalf of labor are increasing as wages and jobs have been cut and conditions for workers have worsened.
Well, the industry has always made the argument that they can deliver better services at a lower cost and save taxpayer money.
They come in there and they say, we're going to have these wonderful jobs, we're going to have benefits, it's going to be great pay, living wages, and we'll pay a lot of taxes, and we'll bring all these other businesses down like motels for the visitors and the prisoners. And it's all essentially lies.
The communities that take the prison find themselves saddled with the idea that they are a prison town, and that's not attractive to other, businesses. The very thing that attracts these towns to prisons is not attractive for long-term economic development.
The GEO Group has had a contract in Pueblo, Colorado for 4 years. They didn't even break ground. They were holding the state hostage, asking for guaranteed financing or guaranteed beds so they could go out on the open bond market to get better financing. They wanted to have a 90% occupancy rate. And to GEO Group, I asked, where's the free market? Where is the free market? The state should not have to guarantee your profit margins to your stockholders. That's not the business of a Colorado taxpayer.
The latest growth opportunity? These same firms have been awarded immense contracts from DHS and ICE, and now they're rounding up families. Last month, the grassroots organization Texans United for Families protested at the T. Don Hutto facility in Texas.
The prison is now being operated as a quote-unquote family facility. There are 400 people there, 200 of them are children, mostly mothers and their children. The children are dressed in prison scrubs. They're being housed in prison cells. They're being offered an hour a day of education or recreation. I mean, these kids are locked down. And just like with the criminal justice crackdown, the Get Tough crackdown, which was going to solve the problem of crime in America, what it's going to do is create a whole new market for a lot of people to make a lot of money, and that's a very unhealthy thing. This distorts a very important and complex area of public policy that needs to be thought through.
Did you see this is the new director of the Department of Corrections?
Oh, nice to meet you.
How are you doing?
Malia Brookman.
Good.
We're talking about private prisons.
Oh, let me out of here. Let me out of here. I'll talk to you later.
Shameless.